for tuning in to Exeter TV. The meeting will be starting shortly. While we wait, let's learn more about Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Okay, welcome to our March edition of the Conservation Commission. I'm Andrew Koff. I'm the chair of the Exeter Conservation Commission. We'll start with the introduction of our members present, and we also have members online. So why don't we start with Don, and we'll go around, and then we'll make it online.
Good evening, Don Clement, also.
Connor Madison.
Good evening, Nick Campion.
Dave Short.
And then on our Zoom, can you guys unmute? Can we test the audio?
Trevor Matera.
Nice.
Campbell.
Kristen Osterwood.
All right, so we have Trevor Matera, Bill Campbell, and Kristen Osterwood.
And Kristen Murphy, Natural Resource Manager.
Thank you. So if I can I be reminded that voting, do we need to vote, roll call vote?
You do.
Okay.
We do?
Yeah.
Because we have a hybrid meeting,
Yes.
Okay.
and
Unless you just want the quorum to be those who are physically present.
so if we want to vote with the members included online, we need to do the roll call, but if we want to vote, we can do that here. Does anyone online have a preference? Trevor, why don't we, I would say let's just do the roll call vote and include as many people as we can. I don't see any point otherwise. Now we
I'll
typically...
I'll be leaving to pick up my wife at the polls about 7:45 or so I won't be here after that.
Okay. All right, so we have 5 members present here, so I'll plan on everybody, assuming Bill won't be voting, everyone else is a voting member unless they say otherwise right now. Okay, you can always abstain. All right. Sorry for that, but I always need to remember how we do these things. It doesn't appear that we have any public here at the meeting to comment. So we will move right into our first action item, which is a review of the Shoreline Protection District conditional use permit for a proposed faculty neighborhood development project located at 35 High Street, 8 Gilman Lane and 10 Gilman Lane in Exeter. And we have Corey from Altus Engineering presenting on this, as well as Heather Taylor from Phillips Exeter. Thank you guys for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Do you not have a microphone?
Doesn't seem like it.
If you can just wait a sec, we'll get you a microphone.
Yeah, maybe I'll just pass this stuff down.
Yeah, I don't,
Hopefully I won't need all that.
do you have a, as far as
And,
copies,
people can
members, do you?
Just talking without a microphone.
As long as can
If
they hear you
people can hear
online.
me.
Well, the audience, this is for the TV
For the
audience.
TV,
Right.
yeah. But
Yeah, and the recorded, and Kristen, you don't have one either, so let's see if we can get 2 mics.
I didn't know you needed one. Well, they don't have one at the. Oh, they don't?
They can't do the, a mic drop at the end of their presentation without a mic.
Well, these are also recorded, so it can be useful to have, even
That's
if,
how the minutes are taken. So
and how the minutes are
Need the
taken.
mics.
We-
is it on?
Yeah, it's not for internally, it's for out.
Okay.
Can ask if people can hear.
Can people hear me?
Yeah, hold on. Yes, we're getting a thumbs up from Trevor.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah.
And from Bill.
Okay, again, my name is Corey Belden with Altus Engineering, and I'm here with Heather Taylor from Phillips Exeter Academy. And we're here for the High Street Faculty Neighborhood Project and the Shoreline Conditional Use Permit application. And I'll go through a quick summary of the project. This project is in, move this down a little bit. Let me go back to first sheets. This Phillips Exeter Academy has a faculty housing need on campus, so they've been looking to find an opportunity to provide some diverse faculty housing, and this site. It contains 2 existing, really 3 existing lots. There's, see here. There's an existing parcel. I'm going to go back a few sheets. Right here. Sorry. So I'll start with this sheet actually. So this is the an existing parcel at 35 High Street. There's another parcel, 10 Gilman Lane. And then this piece, this larger piece right here is actually a part of the larger, it's a 395 acre parcel. So the intent is to basically merge the 2 existing lots with a portion of the larger lot and create a single residential faculty housing development on this site. Another element of the project is to reroute the existing Gilman Lane. If you're aware, the existing Gilman Lane comes up and connects at High Street in this location here, just to the west of the existing signalized intersection. It's a very difficult movement. High traffic volumes on High Street. Taking a left out of here is almost impossible during busy times. So what this will do is actually close this connection close that curb cut, realign Gilman Lane over to the existing signalized intersection. And there's actually already a signal for this movement because the existing 35 High Street apartment building has the driveway has a signal dedicated for that movement. So on site, the existing site, there's currently 8 faculty or 8 residential apartment units. The back of 35 High Street will be removed. This building will be converted into a 2-unit building. The 8 Gilman Lane building will be removed, and the existing 10 Gilman Lane single-family residence will remain intact. So then there will be 1, 2, 3, 4 duplexes and 2 additional single-family residences constructed. So it'll be a total of 13 residential units on the new lot, where currently 8 exist right now. So as I mentioned, well, I didn't mention, but the 35 High Street, the back of it will be demolished, and the front portion, the historic portion will remain and be renovated, and 8 Gilman Lane will be removed. Phillips Exeter and the Market Square architects have gone through a pretty extenuous review with the Historic District Commission. The Historic District line runs right through the site, right around this area here. So all of this portion is located within the Historic District.
And thankfully approved.
And you're right, and the project as presented was approved at the February 17th Historic District Commission meeting. Also, back in December, there was, we went to the zoning board and received approval for providing having a setback, a 10-foot setback in this area. Interestingly, this property here is zoned in the commercial district. This is a residential district, which has a 25-foot setback, but all of the properties really along High Street in this area really are very close to the road, and it was the historic district actually liked that setback because it kept with the character of the road in this area. Let's see. Interestingly, when I was going through the approvals, this is the 4th committee that we're meeting with. Out of we're going to have 10 reviews through this process between this Heritage Commission, Historic District, Zoning Board. This project requires a New Hampshire DES shoreland permit, alteration of terrain. We've already met with the Town of Exeter's River Advisory Committee. We'll be meeting with the Rockingham Planning Commission's River Advisory Committee, and then we'll also be meeting with the Planning Board after we get through these reviews. So it's going to be a very highly reviewed project, I think, in the end.
Before we get into the details, could I just make sure I understand the configuration here and what's going to take place?
Sure.
So I need to go up here. So my understanding is, from what I understand, you're removing one current structure entirely.
Yes.
It has a name of the house, I can't
Gardner
remember.
Gilman.
What?
Gardner Gilman.
The guy Gilman.
This building right here is the one that will
Being removed.
completely.
And you're putting in 6 additional structures.
Yes.
Okay.
The back of
and back of the,
35 High Street.
Right,
will be
it's
removed as
being
well.
removed.
Correct.
so this part of Gilman Lane is being removed, or it's being abandoned, or whatever. I'm not sure how you're gonna do that.
Right. Correct.
How does people get to this house here?
This house here, they'll access the same way through the site and into their parking area in this area. So they'll also have access through the new Gilman Lane.
Okay, what will happen to that portion of the existing Gilman Lane? Will you be tearing up the, I'm sorry, I'm just talking to the front of the mic. Will you be tearing up the asphalt, reseeding it, re-loaming it, or
Correct.
returning it to a natural cover?
Correct.
Okay. So we're removing one building, portion of another, and we're erecting 6 additional new structures. Okay.
We ending Gilman Lane approximately in this location right here, and then all this area will be grassed,
Okay.
and seeded over.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood the diagram.
Okay. So, the existing site has approximately 32,250, about 18.2% impervious area on site. And the new project will increase that to about 27.5% impervious area. The existing site has no stormwater treatment, so we are providing stormwater management and treatment through a rain garden in this area here that will really collect a lot of this upper area of the site. And then through a drainage collection system, we'll have some the drainage that comes down by the observatory, going down to opening up to a swale that drains down to another rain garden. There's an existing outfall to the Exeter River in this area right here. So and there's an existing corrugated metal pipe that's really in pretty poor condition that crosses Gilman Lane in this area. The proposal is to replace that pipe and reconstruct the outfall in this area. We'll be draining to that existing outfall from the existing, from the proposed rain garden, and then outfalling to the Exeter River in the same location that there's an existing outfall. So we've provided a drainage study that analyzes the site. We're reducing the total runoff from the site. One of the pieces, currently the site drains sort of in 2 directions. Some of the site in the existing conditions drains up to High Street. So there's really, it actually drains, some of it drains over to the adjacent properties, gets into the storm drain collection system up to High Street, and then outfalls over at the Exeter River as well. Some of the southern portion of the site drains down to that existing outfall. And we did have some initial conversations with the town engineering department, and our thought was that we would take the site and collect basically all of the stormwater from the site and run it down to keep it out of the existing storm drain collection system in the road. That drain system, I believe, I'm not sure if it was about 5 years ago, that there was a sewer pipe collapse that's very deep. That system is about 15 feet deep in the road. So in order to connect up to the road, we'd be coming out into the middle of the road and installing a structure about 15 feet deep in the road. So we'd like to avoid that. I think the town would like to avoid that. But if we needed to, we could make that connection back up to High Street. But as I said, we're collecting basically all of the stormwater through the collection system, treating it down to a large rain garden down here. Kind of fits nicely into the contours in front of the observatory, and then outletting it over to the Exeter River. So there is a slight increase in the flows exiting at this from existing conditions, but the overall flow from the site, because we're keeping flow out of the public drainage system in High Street, that we're, the total is still a reduction in the runoff for the site. So I will go to this sheet, which was sort of this, the town of Exeter shoreland regulations begin are for 300 feet. Unlike DES, is 250 feet, but this line here is the 300-foot line off of the reference line from the Exeter River. This is the 350 line, so basically almost all of the entire site is within the 300-foot setback. This corner here, and a little bit down here are not within it. This is the 150 line here, and then the 75-foot line is through here. A couple of things that are important, that we are not touching any of the wooded, existing wooded vegetation along the existing riverbank, so this area will all be preserved. And there's the wooded area in here behind the observatory will also all be maintained. Phillips Exeter Academy is very sensitive to lighting around the observatory, and so we're also trying to minimize lighting on the project. We just have two street lights, one at each corner of the intersection for the project, and then just the standard residential lighting that's going to go onto the buildings. So I think I can stop there, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, we can take questions and then go through the conditional use permit questions and answers. But why don't we see if we have any other comments or questions on the project?
I was curious, have you talked to Unitil about access to the substation?
Yes.
Yeah. We have had some initial discussions with Unitil on the access. Interestingly, I don't know if they actually have that deeded access for that, but the Academy has had talks with them, and they will be, we will allow, I believe the Academy is still going to allow them to use the Gilman Lane access to Unitil. Same thing with Exeter Department of Public Works. They have access and use Gilman Lane, which they'll continue to be able to use that to get to the pump station.
Okay, and my other question was related to, it's slightly out of the scope, but the goals for these new buildings, like you said, you're increasing impervious surfaces, so it doesn't seem like you're going to be using any impervious or pervious paving material. But for the buildings, are there any goals related to sustainability or energy efficiency or capturing rainwater, anything along those lines?
Certainly, I can let Heather talk about the energy efficiency. I believe they are going to be highly energy efficient buildings. Although, and one thing that we are doing on site to at least help minimize some of the impervious area on site, all of the patio areas that we are proposing for the faculty, we're proposing to do those in porous pavers. So they'll have porous paver patio areas on the site. But Heather, I don't know if you wanted, if there's anything additional as far as energy efficiency.
Yeah, they're So the buildings will be air-conditioned, and first time we've actually done air-conditioned. The last O'Neill courthouses that we did not do as air-conditioned, but it's with super high-efficiency air-cooled heat pumps. So each house will be done individually. They have, we're doing an enhanced envelope, so reducing the overall energy need. We did look at geothermal, but it did not. We've done a lot of geothermal across campus and been very successful with it, but it did not sort of pan out for this particular project to be the right thing to do. And we did look at passive house very quickly in the beginning, but because of being in the historic district and using double hung windows, that doesn't really fly when it comes to passive house and sort of the things that you need to do with that. So we looked, and we're doing the things that we can do to make it, they will be all electric, they will not be on our steam. So those are the kinds of things that we're doing. I don't know, does that answer your questions?
Potentially outside of this, I'd just be curious to learn more about, you said you looked at passive house and it didn't jive with historic district, but it has jived with other historic districts, especially in New York City has done a lot about passive house in historic districts and getting it approved there. So if it was something that you were interested in, there's definitely paths forward on that. But I was just curious, like the overall, like with enhanced building envelope, but you're saying it's all electric, so you're not doing gas to these buildings?
Mm-hmm. No.
Okay.
So yes, and super duper are my values.
Yeah, I guess my concerns, I mean, I think makes sense, the design that you have here, but it is quite a substantial increase in the impervious percentage on these parcels from where it is today. So did you look at, not that, we have had some permeable pavement projects. We actually did one last year with the McFarland Ford. They installed a new parking lot out across from Hannaford. And they made that into a permeable pavement. And I think that's gone pretty well for them, although that doesn't receive a ton of traffic.
One thing, I mean, particularly with this project, and particularly along the the primary corridor for Gilman Lane, this is, as was mentioned, this is a Unitil access, and town DPW accesses it for the pump station. So we typically don't recommend using that for heavy vehicle traffic. It just doesn't seem to hold up as well as traditional pavement. So I would not recommend it through there. And so we have done traditional pavement throughout the site.
Okay. Can you talk about the stormwater design and the rain gardens? I guess that's my only other concern, is if you're going to have all this impermeable area, is your stormwater collection systems really the best, and what's a rain garden versus what, like a gravel wetland feature, which are, typically we've looked at gravel type wetlands and
right, so we're proposing rain gardens in let me see where I landscape here. Oops, go back here. I don't know if I can, how well you can see this, but this is the detail for the rain garden. So what it is 18 inches of a filter material, which is basically a combination sand, loam, and mulch that then choker layer, which is a 3/4 inch pea stone underneath it, and then another 18 inches of gravel that acts as a sort of a storage area underneath that. So I've found that the rain gardens are they're really bioretention rain gardens. So they very good pollutant removal properties. We also typically put an under drain in them, but raise the under drain up within the gravel system in the bottom. So really, there has to be a significant amount of flow that comes into the storage area in the bottom of the rain garden, and then some of it will infiltrate, and that promotes more infiltration if we raise the under drain up. And then as that fills up, then it'll get into the under drain pipe, and then we'll exit the rain garden and then go back out into the collection system. Just with the
I don't know what happened there. You're still signed in on my screen. You might just need to close that.
How much of the,
Or the sharing stopped for some reason.
how much of the site is the runoff on the site going to be passing? How much of it's captured by this rain garden or passing through it?
So the only impervious area on site that is not, that we don't collect are these two. There's a small portion of this front roof that it's sloping towards High Street that we really don't collect there, and then the same thing over there. Everything else, all of the pavement, all this roof runoff, we're collecting back over. We're running, and that's really one of the benefits, to having, this area is really elevated, about 10 feet higher than the area down by the observatory, so we can collect all of the runoff.
So everything's being sent through there.
Everything's being sent, and then we actually all of this area up here, we're collecting into this rain garden. Actually, so we sort of actually get double treatment on some of this area, because this will then disperse down to the rain garden, and it's a pretty significant size rain garden. It's a 2,200 square foot rain garden, so it's a pretty good size rain garden. And again, we're there's contours here. You can kind of see the contours. These are up higher, so we're building up a berm and really creating a nice. I think it's going to be a nice feature down by the observatory, in order to and then also functional to provide treatment to the site. And as I mentioned, we're also going through DES, alteration of terrain permit application, so they're going to be reviewing the stormwater treatment and making sure we're meeting all of their requirements as well.
So staying with stormwater, the storm drainage, I have some concerns. One is that I'm concerned about what kind of actual treatment we're going to have. Certain features have better treatment for pollutants. I'm concerned about nitrogen and phosphorus primarily, because you're so close to the river. I'm looking for treatment that takes care of that entirely. Because your drainage is going to wind up getting to the river at that culvert you talked about, I believe, after it goes through those swales. I'm concerned with that flush in there, we just been very successful in restoring the Alewife run and the herring run. I'm just concerned about we're going to get a flush of maybe pollutants, fertilizers, phosphorus, and nitrogen that could impact the fish as they come up. Also, the fact that we're adding an awful lot of hot top, and with the hot top we're going to have parking. How are we taking care of the vehicle fluids? Fluids that come off vehicles, the gas, oil, transmission fluid, brake fluid. That's going to get washed in somehow, and I'm concerned that with that. Right now, I know we've got Gilman Lane, but we don't have parking for, I'm going to say, a dozen or so vehicles, and there's going to be parked there and traveling there, and a much more, a greater occurrence. So I'm concerned about how we're going to take care of those pollutants, as well as the pollutants coming off of the landscaped areas, which are primarily nitrogen and phosphorus.
Right. I'll start with, this plan right here is the existing conditions plan, and you can see right here, all of this area here, all of this area here is all existing pavement. So there's actually quite a lot of pavement on site. We're providing a road, a road that comes through here. And then we do have a spur that comes down here, but I don't have the numbers between asphalt to asphalt from pre-development to post-development, but there is a significant amount. There's actually over 32,000 plus 32,300 or so existing square feet of impervious area on site, and there's no treatment on site. So this entire site has no treatment and is draining to the Exeter River. So although we are increasing the impervious on site by, I believe, like 12,000 square feet of impervious, it's going about 9% increase from what the existing site is, but we are treating basically all of the site. So that said, we're also going with...
Sorry, when you say all the site, what percentage storm event are you talking about?
So we've analyzed the storm all the way to the 50-year storm event. Everything is treated through there, and all of the rain gardens are designed to hold up to the 50-year storm event.
Okay, and the drainage from the rain gardens, I assume it's an overflow drainage, not a filter through drainage then into the river. I'm just very aware of this site because it's on my running route, and it's the ground is soaked pretty constantly, like it's saturated, and I don't know how much more it could really absorb into it. So I was just wondering, are you going to the filtering through of the runoff, and then, because I'm afraid you're going to have stagnant water because of how saturated the ground already is.
So we're with the rain garden, where we're placing it, we're actually building it up a bit, building up the ground, and so the filter material will be above where the existing ground is, and then we're berming it. It filters through the filter material into the stone reservoir underneath it. Then there's going to be a perforated underdrain that runs under there. A single underdrain that'll collect it to an outfall pipe that then would connect over to, there's a catch basin, an existing catch basin right where the outfall is. So we would cross the road into a catch basin and then outfall to the river. So none of the existing flow from the rain garden and from the site after it goes into the rain garden should all be won't be dispersing out over the fields. It'll be into the collection system after filtering through the filter media.
Okay.
But what you're saying though is the rain garden isn't necessarily going to infiltrate a large percentage of the flow into the ground directly. A lot of the design for this has it flowing through to the outlet.
It goes down into the reservoir.
And then
the existing ground will be scarified, so there will be some infiltration, but as she said, the soils in this area are not real highly permeable soils. So you'll get some, but there's not. It's not like you're getting 6 inches per hour or something.
Yeah.
It's a small rate, but we will have some infiltration. There's better infiltration actually up on the higher part of the site, and that's one of the reasons that we tried to, that we also, I think as I mentioned, we have some sort of double treatment. But this area of the site, this all drains to this rain garden. We get very good, we get better infiltration up on the upper part of the site. So we are running this same thing to a rain garden, infiltrating it, we'll go through the filter media to the reservoir. We'll get better infiltration here. Again, more retention, reduce the peaks. This will then go outlet to the collection system, and then also go down to the next rain garden, down by the observatory.
So typically I don't offer my comments at a Conservation Commission meeting because we have TRC, but I also wanted to speak to the stormwater system. As you know, the town of Exeter is under tremendous pressure to reduce our nitrogen and phosphorus loading. And so I'm not really hearing and rain gardens are great for total suspended solids, but when it comes to removal efficiencies, they don't perform as well as, I think the rain garden at the top of the project makes sense, but they don't perform as well as a gravel wetland in terms of removals, unless there's some different design here. And so, to me, the observatory area has the space for a gravel wetland, so I'm just curious why that's off the table.
So I wouldn't say it's off the table. We've had good success with the bioretention systems. We have I don't have we go by the UNH's guide on what the removal rates. I have right here that the rain gardens removal rates are 90% total suspendable solids, 65% nitrogen, 65% phosphorus is what they indicate. And again, sometimes we look at different types of sites. If we're doing an industrial site, this is a residential use, so it's a very low pollutant use. And we felt that, the rain gardens, would provide adequate pollutant removal for the site. So that's really why we've gone with those. So.
And I did also notice in the landscaping plan, it mentions irrigation of the lawns. Is that still a part of the plans, or?
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed. If you go to one of those, maybe our shoreland conditional use plan, there's quite a bit of lawn area. Some of it within the 150-foot buffer.
And so I worry about the added watering, there's greater potential for nitrogen runoff. And so, you'll hear this again tomorrow, I suspect not just from me, but, we are under tremendous pressure both financially and permit restrictions to reduce nitrogen. So how do we justify an opportunity where there's the space, and I'm not hearing that there aren't conditions for a gravel wetland. So if it's possible, to me, I would strongly suggest that be a part of the plans.
That's where I wanted to go too, because that's a very big concern. And, we all we love the green grass, our manicured lawn, but it comes with a price that our rivers and waterways have to endure. The other question, why don't we continue on drainage, because I have a couple of questions that are not drainage related, but so while we're on that thread, I want to continue.
No, that makes sense. Trying to understand I don't know the technical differences between this proposal and a gravel wetland, but I think we would want to maximize nitrogen removal. As you mentioned, there is the space there. There's certainly that site is pretty poorly drained to begin with. And that was one question I had too, but I guess you're building it up, because would there be runoff or infiltration from the field, back from the field? I don't know all the grades out there, but it is fairly low.
The ball fields start down here, and there's really this is the existing catch basin for the outlet. There's basically a swale that kind of comes down here. So that's, and then it's, rising as you come up, and then there's a big hill here, but we're rising up as we go through here. So where we've placed the, let me go back to the grading plan. Rain garden here is, we're kind of coming up from this area, and we're elevated, pretty good amount
Okay,
above.
and there's
above
the
that
swale there, okay.
The swale the swale connecting to an existing storm drain?
Yes,
Are you replacing that storm drain?
yes,
Are you upgrading it?
yes.
Will it be one that'll have oil and gas separators in it?
We don't have oil and gas.
Well, oil, petroleum products. In other words, you can have a hooded,
We have up on site all of the catch basins in the road, all deep sump catch basins with hoods.
Okay.
Correct. This one down here, we've already collected everything, and this is just the outfall, so we don't have anything in there. But yes, all of our catch basins, we have a catch basin in the road, deep sump, 4-foot sump with, the eliminator
Yeah.
hoods that, separate the oil from the outfall. So that's all of these catch basins that are collecting the road runoff have that. Correct.
you had an exhibit, it was a colored exhibit that showed the 300-foot line shoreline. Yes, that one there. Where are we in relation to the floodplain? In other words, flood elevation. What's the flood elevation on this property?
The flood elevation, the flood elevation is about, let me look at my plans, because I forget the numbers, if it's 17 or 20.
That was provided in our packet, there
I
was
know,
a
I
FEMA map. But it's a good thing to come back to relative to the construction plan.
27.7 is the elevation, so that's down here is the floodplain, and it runs along the riverbank in this area. So that's the 100-year flood elevation,
yeah.
which was just recently revised in 2018, I believe, when for the dam removal.
Yep.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
While we're on this plan, so we see the 150-foot shoreline setback. That's the setback for buildings, and I see that you have I think a 2-unit, right where the 150 words are. The number 150. Yeah, there. So there's a 2-unit there. And then if you go to the bottom right, you have a single unit. And so Dave and I were talking, is there a way to modify the layout so that single...
This is an existing building.
No, to the right of that, yeah. So that you switch those 2 buildings around and...
Yeah,
no?
we looked at that.
You did?
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we were forced into looking at even more units.
Yep.
So this is a reduction from
Yep.
sort of where...
Well, not to change the number of units, but to just
Right.
change the alignment so we have less building footprint within that 150.
One thing I did look at, and this was what we did for, we were doing the DES shoreline permit
Yep.
as well, and looking at the amount of buildings. So in this area, the existing building that we're removing, 8 Gilman Lane, is located right in this area right here.
Yep.
So one of the, this existing duplex was previously pushed over here. So we pushed it over to the west because what I was trying to do is just make sure that all of our new building that was within the 150 were not increasing. So we have a slight reduction of building within the 150 compared to the existing conditions.
Great, that's good to hear,
So,
thank you.
We did look at doing that.
The new alignment of Gilman Lane, or the new Gilman Lane, I guess, is that going to be privately owned?
It will remain privately owned, yes.
What is the width of that road?
Right now, we're proposing a 24-foot wide roadway.
any thoughts about reducing it? Because it's going to be, the only traffic going in and out of there is going to be the faculty.
I take that back, 22 foot wide.
22 foot.
22
Any
foot
idea, any chance
Yes,
of reducing the width to
We'd love to
reduce the
reduce
amount of
the
front
width.
top?
I think we'd be very amenable to reducing the width of Gilman Lane to.
Because it's going to be restricted traffic.
20 feet is,
Yeah.
as long as, I think the only thing that we'd look at is just making sure that we're providing the turning movements for fire
Right,
truck.
well, yeah,
but
for
I
safety
think
and
as
reasons,
far
yeah.
as
But I
reducing
mean,
the-
we tend to have just, our roads are just too wide.
No, I agree, and I
And this
almost,
is a good place to narrow them if we can.
you know, you know, we're following what some of the regulations say for the roadway widths
Oh, yeah.
based on the number of units that they're providing to. But even this roadway, I mean, it's essentially a driveway that just accesses through it. This is 18 feet wide, you know, so, you know, you could probably even reduce that to 16, 14.
Yeah.
Foot wide, and similar up here, you could reduce this one. This one really only serves one house. Well, 2 units, but one
Yeah.
building. So the width of this, I think, could also be reduced. So I think we would be very amenable to trying to reduce impervious pavement by reducing, you know, the road widths as possible.
Yeah, I'd like to see an effort to that extent. This is still going before the
Tomorrow we'll meet with technical
technical
review.
review, I'm sorry, to a blank there.
I have a question related to that. Where's the snow going? Maybe it's already been said. Some of the sound is not coming through too well to me, but there's going to be a little bit of snow on those roads. Where is that all going to be stored?
Right. I think in this project, we have a lot of opportunity for snow storage. We have snow storage all along the side of this road. We have snow storage between a lot of the buildings, in here, at the end of this driveway, down at the end of the Gilman Lane, and then, you know, they could push it off to the side up at the end of this driveway as well, and then along the side of the road. So I think in this area, there's a lot of greens.
Yeah. Well, I can't see where you're pointing to. I hope somebody at the meeting would see. But you said push it off the side of the road. I'm not sure which side, and somebody there can check and see. You push it off the side, and then it just all the stuff goes down the river. That's kind of good. That's the best thing. But
Although the academy could put heated pipes under all the road systems and not prevent any snow from accumulating.
That's good.
And I did see the snow storage locations on the plans.
We do
with the
have it called out on the site
exception of-
plan.
I didn't see anything associated with the, go back to that. With the, so there's those 2 homes that are remaining on the northwest, yeah. Just where the parking is for that unit, I was unclear where the snow for that area would be pushed. To me, I mean, I envision a plow truck going through, it seems logical it would end up toward the river. And so is there an opportunity for berming or?
There's a
fence right at the dead end, so any snow would have to be pulled out of that.
What do they do now? I mean, it's an existing driveway, so I'm kind of curious what how they manage that now. They probably just push
it all to the front yard of Gardner Gilman.
Yeah, they probably just push it over into this area over here, existing. You know, there's some opportunity. Again, depends on what the size of the storm is. Certainly the smaller couple-inch storms were, I think this area would be pretty manageable, but when you get into the larger storms, they may be trying to push it across the street or down the road.
Because there wasn't a yard drain or anything on that side like you had on the other house lots that could capture it or something, so that it could get into the treatment system versus.
Right, there's a drain right at the corner. Certainly we could look at just running something across over to the other side and picking up that so that, it did it does not drain down towards, the river and then connect over. I think we could do that as well.
I don't think you've shown there's a nice 3D perspective map. It was in our packet. Yeah.
This one?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is the perspective of what the proposed site will look like, in the end. I mean, we really think, this is, if I could say, a tired site that could really use some revitalization. We think it's going to really create a nice neighborhood. I think the PEA has talked to some of the neighbors, and some of the neighbors, are supportive of the project. And look forward to it, particularly this neighbor here. I think they've been working with some of the neighbors on the back that abut the property over on this side as well. And this neighbor here is also supportive of the project. So they're really trying to reach out to the abutters and get support and address all of their concerns for the project. But again, I think this does paint a good picture of what the vision is for the project, and again, all of the existing riverbank being preserved, or really preserving all of the wooded buffer that leads to the observatory, adding some plantings in and some green space, rain gardens, plantings along the back property line in this area. There's really not very high quality trees in that area, so yeah. So and then we will have, although it is a privately owned road, there still will be a sidewalk along the side of the road that does go through the site and continues over, and then access, to provide access down to the Gilman Lane and the trail system.
And so that doesn't show the stormwater infiltration, the rain gallery, the lower rain gallery is not part of this.
Yeah, they didn't do that in there.
Yeah, because that's obviously a little outside the architect's scope, but
yeah.
But you can sort of almost see a bit of the swale.
You can kind of see where
you can see the swale.
The swale's down here, and the rain garden is really tucked up into these the hill by the observatory, right?
Right, and that's really where the edge of the 100-year floodplain is also right in that area.
Yeah, the floodplain is really, this swale is basically in the floodplain. The floodplain is, again, 27.7 is the elevation, and I believe we're at 30. 27. Yeah, so we're staying. It's 27 now. Anyway, we're keeping the so we had, Gove Environmental did test pits down in this area to determine where the seasonal high water table is. So we're saying 2.5. We're keeping the bottom of the rain garden out of the seasonal high water table. So that was our requirement, and again, that's the seasonal high. So again, we feel we'll with the design of the rain garden, with the elevated under drain pipe, that will promote some infiltration with that system. Again, we can look at, the gravel wetland. I'm not sure. I don't recall what exactly the phosphorus and nitrogen removal rates were for the gravel wetlands, but certainly
97%, right?
I know it's higher than rain garden. I thought I had looked at the UNH stormwater specs and saw rain gardens were 40 pushing 50 for nitrogen, and then gravel wetlands were 70-ish, but yeah, we could look at that.
Numbers are out there somewhere.
Okay. Well, we have these conditions we could go through, but we could discuss things more.
I just have a curiosity question. What kind of stage of permitting are you guys at? Have we gone through state at all? Have we submitted an AOT?
We've submitted the AOT about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And same thing with the DES shoreland permit application. They went out just after HDC and the site plan applications went out. So about 2 weeks. So I wouldn't expect to hear back from them for probably 45, 50 days, right, until we even get their comment. So, hopefully within that time, we're meeting with conservation. We'll get your comments. We're going to meet with technical review committee. We're still going to meet with the Rockingham Planning Commission, the Exeter Squamscott River Local Advisory Committee, as we made the mistake, not the mistake, but we also met with the town of Exeter,
the River Study Committee, I think they're called.
So, but anyway,
Don is also on the other.
The extra Squamscott
I would think we're probably with AOT, and the DES permits, we're probably 2 months out on those roughly.
But they have been submitted already.
But they did get submitted, correct?
Okay.
Drew, I have another question.
Don, is he not 8?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It is 8 o'clock though. I don't know if you have to pick up Ann.
They've run out of ballots up there, and so they're making up new ballots because there's about 40 people still waiting to vote, and they're there, and so I don't know when she's going to get finished, but...
Wow, drama. This is live, late-breaking news. You've heard it here on Exeter Conservation Commission first.
Got it.
They're holding the ballot.
There's been an accident I don't think it's very serious, but there's been an accident at the entrance, and you can't get in right now. But anyway, I'm going to be here for a while. But I had a non sequitur that Kristen really reminded me of, and it's for Heather. Is Heather still there?
Yep.
Do you have a sustainability coordinator at the school, and I think you have a committee. Have they looked at this project and commented on it?
Yes. I mean, everything we do, so Warren is our sustainability coordinator, but I'm one of the lead APs that's on campus, so I'm one of the people pushing sustainability on campus as well. So yes, we have looked at it, and our goal is to do as much as we can. And one of the things we're really excited about this project is we're improving the safety, pedestrian safety, the whole fixing of Gilman Lane and bringing it out to the intersection with the light. Pedestrians will still be able to access the site as they have. So for those that run, we know a lot of people use and access the fields and the woods from here. That will all stay the same. And the idea of cleaning up it's the missing tooth is sort of one of the things that we described with the kind of the front yard in front of what's Gardner Gilman or 8 Gilman Lane right now. So it's all gone through historic district, so it approves kind of fitting in. And this is the front door really of Exeter for people coming down Portsmouth Ave. This will definitely improve kind of the visual. So it's both.
So Exeter Academy, so the people coming down Portsmouth Avenue would know that it's there, right?
It won't look like it. It'll just be, probably white houses. We haven't picked colors yet.
Good. All right. Thank you.
But it'll look better than the mold growing on 35 High that was there when we bought it.
What's our, what are we acting on this evening? The town's Shoreline?
Yeah. Yep. We have the, let's see, this is, the shoreline conditional use permit, so,
Yes.
we can either approve it, we could recommend, we're still in a recommendation to the planning board either way. So, in Kristen's memo, there's also language, the option of, we don't feel like we have sufficient information. I feel like we've gone through a fair amount. I guess there's some concern that plans could change based on other reviews. But I guess my sense is we should go through these points for the shoreland conditional use permit. I don't know if we need to read the answers because you've kind of gone through them all already, but we can at least consider the comments to make sure you qualify for this. So the first one is the proposed use will not detrimentally affect the surface water quality of the adjacent river or tributary or otherwise result in unhealthful conditions.
Well, I think that's why we want to talk about things like better water quality, better, things like gravel wetlands and because we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm a little, that's the goal, is to do that, make sure that it doesn't impair the waterways. So I don't know if we're walking through that or rather just, make a general statement of what we'd like to see on the site. I'm not seeing any evidence that it will, but I'm not seeing any, but I want to make sure, I want to be very cautious because that is we're in a very sensitive situation on the river there. We're, within 300 feet of the river, or any kind of development is going to have some kind of an impact. We want to make sure that impact is there is no impact. So that to me is why we want to talk about, how do we reduce the nitrogen and the phosphorus load and the other kind of solids, and we make sure that the water runoff from there is as pure as it can be.
Yeah, if I can jump in. I completely agree with what Don just said there. I think, in a lot of cases, the nitrogen and phosphorus is like just top of my mind, making sure those are addressed. I don't know a huge amount about storm runoff, but I know just enough to be dangerous, and it looks like the performance curves of those wetlands are actually quite good. But I would leave that to TRC to dig into. When I look at a situation of redevelopment, I like how there would be treatment going into a system like this. In which case, right now, what we have is there is still a lot of effective impervious cover back in there, and it's not being treated, and we're actually moving to a place where that effective impervious cover would be treated to a significant amount of it, and therefore that already puts it in a much more positive place in my eyes moving forward when I'm looking at a design like this.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're reading that. So one of the things we had discussed too is the use of low nitrogen fertilizers. So the PEA uses those on campus, and we can use that, have that as a condition that, the site will use low nitrogen fertilizers for the site, being within if at all, they actually don't fertilize too often. But having that as a condition for within the stormwater maintenance, we've prepared a stormwater inspection maintenance manual. There's annual inspections, and we can have that as a condition if that is a concern as well.
So because this is within our Exeter Shoreline Protection District, we have a prohibition of the use of fertilizer in that district without a waiver. So one of my recommendations tomorrow would be you need to include a waiver to the planning board for the use of fertilizer to establish new vegetation, because we do want it to grow and be stable, so, but you do need a waiver in order for that to happen. But we don't offer a waiver situation for, continued fertilizer use.
Okay.
So there is a section in our Shoreline District regs that addresses that.
And I know we talked about that on the ball field side when they were redoing something out there. That would be my concern too, is just have you minimized, in terms of landscaping, we haven't gone into like a detailed landscape plan here, but just from this aerial, it does seem like a lot of grass, and that would require fertilizer. And if you're irrigating to things like that, that would be something I would want to move away from in this area.
So in terms of irrigation, we typically irrigate where it's visible to others, so front area, probably we would, so that the front door of Exeter, it wasn't brown at all times, but typically we do not irrigate our faculty housing. So we could discuss sort of a limit to where that.
If the site prep is done properly, if there's sufficient loam and that sort of thing, there really is no need for irrigation. Grass might go dormant for a couple weeks a year, but it's not going to die. It's when you're putting, like most subdivisions, 3-4 inches of loam over the top of gravel, that needs to be irrigated just to live. But if the topsoil is deep enough, once that grass is established, it really doesn't need supplemental watering.
Yeah.
And you guys tend to do things right, so that.
Yeah, maybe it's only done as needed, or you could bring trucks in. We'll see. I'll let the landscape architects and the PA discuss that. But yeah, certainly.
I certainly know the vegetation is all sort of natural vegetation of the trees and any bushes and things like that.
Natives.
And we're trying to minimize. One of our challenges is we can't be, keeping up with it all, so we minimize what we put in.
Oh, Bernie's hurt, so.
I know.
You lost a lot there.
You're going to be talking to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess we're still slightly hung up on, it sounds like we have a few ideas about things that could be done to potentially improve the resulting water, the volume and the amount and the quality of the water that ultimately does reach the river from the site. I know we had another thing we talked about was exploring reducing the roadway. That would reduce impervious cover, which would ultimately reduce flow volumes as well. So,
TRC is going to talk about that tomorrow, right?
I suspect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the major things we've talked about in terms of what I've heard, is just the roadway size, the plantings, lawn maintenance plan, and then is the design of the stormwater structures. In this case, the rain gardens, is that the most effective design?
Well, no, actually, we want to suggest that we want more effective design.
And is there a more effective design out there?
More effective design to eliminate and to reduce nitrogen and phosphorus, primarily. Is that a fair statement?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever the optimal method is,
Right.
that would be our recommendation. Yeah.
Okay. So those are our thoughts on that one. I mean, we can go, there's 4 other elements. I think they're more minor, but I think we should go through them before we take any motions. The proposed use will discharge no wastewater on site other than normally discharged by domestic wastewater disposal systems and will not involve on-site storage or disposal of hazardous waste or toxic waste as herein defined. So that, you guys, this will be connected to the sewer system. There's no on-site septic. This doesn't particularly apply.
Correct.
The proposed use will not result in undue damage to spawning grounds or other wildlife habitat. There was a NHB survey and concluded there was not any wildlife impacts. And this is, you're redeveloping an existing impacted site, so I don't see an issue there. You're not affecting the river buffer. The proposed use complies with the other use regulations defined in Article 934 Exeter Shoreline Pedestrian District Ordinance use regulations and all other I can't speak here, and all other applicable sections of this article. So in this, your answer, you discussed this is sort of a tricky one in that you're combining the 3 parcels, but that hasn't been approved yet. That's correct. That's still an ongoing extent. So the new lot will be approximately 4 acres in size and have 27.5% impervious area compared to 18.2 existing. So we've already talked about that is a factor that's going up, but maybe there are opportunities to shave a few percentages off there with roadways.
And I think as you noted before, that 18.2%, which is about 32,000, about 3/4 of an acre of impervious, does not have any existing treatment. So what is being provided will be a significant improvement to the existing conditions.
And the last condition is that the design and construction of the proposed use will be consistent with the intent of the purposes set forth in Article 931 Exeter Shoreline Protection District Ordinance Authority and Purpose. And you go through an answer here that makes sense. Similarly, like you just discussed, you're going to be improving the site in many ways and continuing access. Are there any other thoughts? Does anyone want to make a motion? I feel like we're not in a place to really just approve it outright, but we have some ideas.
Let me give it a shot.
Good luck.
Move that we recommend the approval of a shoreline
Conditional use permit?
Conditional use permit with the following conditions. One is that the applicant looks and reviews the drainage system to put in a system that will best reduce nitrogen and phosphorus. 2, that the applicant look to if there's narrowing the width of the internal private roads. They've got. You said they have to go and get the additional permit for the fertilizer, anyways. Am I right?
A waiver.
Waiver.
Yeah.
That they seek the waiver for the fertilizer use.
Just for the establishment of new landscaping.
The establishment of new landscaping. And is there anything else we want to add to that?
There was talk about the watering.
Yeah, I don't know how to word that condition, that the applicant review the necessity of the
Or their
Irrigation system.
the irrigation system.
Yeah.
I second that. If you're finished.
I don't know, I'm looking at the rest of the commission here.
Yeah, I mean, that's as good, that probably as good a way of putting it as
Yeah.
any, right?
yeah.
Period.
Basically, avoid trying to have to put in an irrigation system if at all possible. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll second that.
Okay. Do we have any other comments? Okay. Online, let me pull up this. So we are going to have to vote
Do we have names?
via roll call. Wait, how do I do this? Oh, I lost my thing. Okay. Here we go.
There it is.
All right. Do you want to do the roll call, Kristen Murphy?
Yeah, sure. We're ready for a vote?
Yeah.
And so Bill is not voting? Is that
Good vote, I'm still here.
Oh, boy.
That's one too many voters, so someone is not voting.
Why doesn't Bill not vote? Sorry,
I'll
Bill.
not vote.
Okay.
Bill's supposed to be picking Ann up,
So
actually.
Kristen
Yeah.
Osterwood,
Aye.
Trevor Matera,
Yes.
Don Clement,
Yes.
Connor Madison,
Yes.
Andrew Koff,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
I guess I don't need your last names, do I?
It was a nice touch.
Unanimous.
Okay, so we've conditionally approved this.
We recommended the condition.
Yes, we've recommended to, and
The approval.
we will be drafting a letter to the planning board. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Looks like a good
Yeah.
project.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
We look forward as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When does the LAC meet?
I think the ERLAC meeting is 22nd. Are you scheduled for the March 20? Okay. Are you scheduled for the 22nd for ERLAC?
Yes.
That's what I thought, yeah.
7 PM. Location to be determined.
Yes, yeah, I know. We might be at the Stratham Town Office, but I'm not sure yet.
Are you?
Yes,
So you'll see the project.
I'll see it again.
You can have a head start.
You never see a good project too many times.
All right, write that down. That's a quote.
Okay.
All right, we do have some other things to discuss. Our next topic is the Alewife Festival. Do you guys, oh yeah, you don't want to forget that. So we're getting very excited for this Alewife Festival, which is on the schedule for May 14th. Saturday, May 14th?
May 14th with a rain date of May 21st.
May 21st. So mark your calendars, everyone listening at home and on the commission. Kristen, do you want to walk us through some of the planning and some of the things we need to discuss? Because there's still a lot of decisions to make.
Yes. So the location for the festival will be at Founders Park. We have reserved the site. And I thought it would be helpful to kind of step through some of the events and activities that we have planned for during the day, and then maybe identify folks on the commission who would be willing to sort of get together and refine what information you want to bring to the public. I know at the last meeting, Allison suggested a tour of the sea level rise predicted elevations at Swayze Parkway, so that could be something. But if there's materials that you need me to help prepare for a table or something of that nature, we should probably talk a little bit further about that. Okay, so the plan so far is the event is from 9 to 1, the library closes at 1, and we're using part of the children's room as well. So there'll be welcome remarks from the beginning, and I was able to connect with Denise and Paul Pouliot from the New Hampshire Indigenous Collaborative Collective. And so we talked about them doing a land acknowledgement and maybe some sort of statements about, encouraging living in concert with the land. And so that will kind of open it up and set the stage for it. And then New Hampshire Fish and Game's Mike Dione, is going to come and have hopefully fish in hand that day from Pickpocket Dam that he'll be able to present to the public, so you'll get some exposure. Kids will be able to see some of the fish that swim in our rivers. And then Parks and Rec is going to run a contest to guess the Alewife run date. And so it'll be kind of similar to like Ice Out for Lake Winnipesaukee, but guessing the run date. And so Greg Bisson will be there to announce the winner. So you could buy submissions for a price. The price is yet to be determined. And then the winner will win a kayak. So that could be fun, yeah.
So where's the kayak coming from?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it will be like a lower end kayak, just to make sure that, we have the coverage. But Greg had an order in, I think it was, for a little higher end kayak than I was envisioning, but.
Okay.
I don't know yet. A lot of this is still in development. And then Garrett Prey from Exeter TV, they are looking for a mascot to bring around to public events, and so there'll be an opportunity beforehand for people to design mascots, and we'll have sort of a public display of the products that they'll do, almost like a runway walk. And then from that point on, it'll just be, we'll open it up to the tables. There'll be music out there. Drew was able to secure a band, or to find a band that was interested in coming. We'll have a food truck. And then just a bunch of different environmentally organized tables, followed by at 1:30, Exeter Squamscott Local River Advisory Committee. Eric Turner is going to lead a paddle. And then we're still deciding if there'll be an evening environmental film festival. That's kind of to be determined. But the tables that we have, so we'll have kids' activities in the library. There'll be a story walk set up along the area about We Are the Water Protectors, which is a really beautiful kids' book. And there has been talk about possibly having mini films inside the interior of the library, but that's, we still need some discussion about that, because there were some concerns that people aren't really going to want to be inside for such a short event. They're going to be wanting to mill about outside. And so we have, let's see, the Energy Committee will be having information on e-vehicles, community choice power. Ginny and others from the Pollinator Pathways effort will have information on native plants and possibly either a seed swap or native plants to give away. The Tree Committee has some activities planned. We are hoping to do some waste reduction, recycle right presentations with Public Works. Fertilizer reduction, lawn care, water quality lawn care is another topic. And then Melissa Pally, for the Conservation Law Foundation's Piscataqua Great Bay Waterkeeper, said that she would be there, and we're still kind of determining what her table focus will be. And then I did get individuals from the Girl Scouts reached out, so did students from PEA all wanting to be involved, as did the PEA, I forget what their Enviro team is called, but it's not coming to me. But anyway, so there's a whole host of, we'll have rain barrels for sale, and just a bunch of the efforts that we've all been doing throughout the years kind of concentrated in one event, our spring efforts. So that's kind of the plan for it. The Sustainability Committee will also be there, and there's a commitment festival-wide for this to be single-use plastics free. And so, and we'll also be calculating the waste footprint for the event. So and Green Heron was the name of the band, right, Drew? The acoustic, yeah. Drew had, and I can send around the link, but they do sound perfect, kind of folksy, it seems.
And they got the right name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they have a good name.
It's perfect.
And they're local-ish, but they can only play for an hour from 12 to 1. So.
Yeah, but that's
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
And so Sarah Koff, Drew's wife, had reached out and has been working on a logo for the event. It looks fantastic, and I thought I had printed it out, but I forgot to bring it. And so ideally, this is also still up in the air. I'm hoping that we can get some pint glasses etched with the logo, and then Sawbelly is willing to partner with us, and possibly you could either buy tickets and get the glasses at Sawbelly later, or you can just get the glasses on site and get a free beer when you go to Sawbelly to fill your pint glass or something. So that is the plan so far. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done to kind of flesh out the details and get the advertising out, but I think it'll be a great event.
Yeah, so it's clear people know, there's some initial postings about it now, right? But we haven't fully advertised it.
Yeah, it really has not been advertised. We've talked about it in a variety of committees, so there's some, but there's not been any advertising yet.
So Sarah can make a flyer, like a PDF, a one-page flyer, and it seems like we should get that out because we're like 2 months out here.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, and we'll definitely push it on Exeter TV and Facebook pages and the town's website. Notice in the paper. I think we'll be able to get the advertising.
Yeah, this is a good time. This is a good time to ramp it up. I mean, the local elections are over today, and that was really taking up most of the airwaves. So this is
that's true.
The next few weeks is a good time to start pushing out information a little bit at a time.
I'm curious about the paddle. Do you think I could see that being wildly popular and a lot of people wanting to do that?
Yeah.
Is there a limit to how many people can participate, or is that still too?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so my goal with this is to just kind of create the boundaries and then have each participant define their scope. So if Erlac or Eric want to have pre-registration, we could probably do that. Maybe you could register at the event and then come with it. I don't know. I guess.
Or you could have waves of different people if you had multiple guides or however.
Yeah.
Where is Eric thinking about doing the paddle?
From the town launch.
Oh, down the Swampscott.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, years ago when we did the festival, we had a race, a kayak.
In the rapids.
A kayak or canoe race, and we just had anybody who wanted to enter into the race, and everybody qualified. I mean so it depends. It's going to be a nice day, and people want to get out in the water. They're going to show up. Come on, come on.
Yeah. And the timing for the tide is right. It's just crazy how it's all. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's bizarre.
12:34 high tide. Is that what I read? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
And it might also be the other thing. I don't know how accurate this is, but it's supposed to be an unseasonably high tide, and so it might be like the king tide potential is.
We're gonna get some flooding at.
But that could be really
right into the parkway.
right. That could be really incredible in terms of being able to display some of the sea level rise issues, and I think actually it would make a fantastic display. So. Especially if part of the commission's role is to talk about, sea level rise impacts down the road. And so I think it would be great if we could get a subset of commission members who are interested in helping kind of craft a message and a plan for what the Conservation Commission wants to do for their table, or is it event or a walk or whatever that is. I think it would be helpful if we could have some people work on that outside of the meeting, and I'd be happy to join as well.
Right, because at the minimum we have a table space and we can have people there, but we need to decide do we want to do something else too, and who's going to be at the table and what are they going to talk about, or what are we going to have
Or do you
there?
want to forego the table and just have a stroll down Swayze? Whatever the plan is it can be flexible, but it needs a little bit more details attached to it. I mean, we do have maps of the Cape maps that show the predictive freshwater flooding, plus the sea rise maps that show, the flooding from the Squamscott. We could have those there and talk about them, or whatever your little heart desires.
And do we also need like general site planning help?
Absolutely, yeah. So every person who is having a table, it's a bring your own table and tent if you have or want one. So the setup should be kind of easy, but there's still going to be logistics for all of this that I would love some help with. We need to get the parking spaces coned off for the food truck and the electric vehicles that'll be on display down there. And then get the story walk poster set up, and just general setup of, where the tables are going to go around the park.
So we're going to have another, so I went to, and I think Dawn, you went to one too. We've had one or two planning meetings with other representatives from other committees in town, and we're going to have another one of those pretty soon.
Yes.
Maybe just one more, or maybe we have one more planning one and then one right before the event or something.
So I would envision, my thought was we'd have one more sort of kind of planning, everyone meeting, and then we probably need a subset to focus on the advertising and outreaching and what information, who's going to, we could work on the flyers, but who's going to help modify the design or review the design for the flyers and the social media postings and all of that. So maybe there'd be another subcommittee. I don't know. Maybe one more meeting before the actual event, just to make sure.
Yeah, you're gonna need a couple of meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the event, and I'm happy to help wherever.
Great.
Me too.
Nixon.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey.
Dave has said that he's gonna shoot the rapids. Am I right?
I said Nick was going to.
Oh, Nick's doing it? Okay.
Yeah.
Woke me up.
Yeah, that's true. We should.
No, actually,
that would be fun to have some people.
The mascot.
Kayak down
Nick's
that
going to be the
day.
mascot. He's going to dress up as an
Crazy.
alewife.
I'll shoot the rapid.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there'll be a comedy component to the whole thing.
Just get Garrett to film it all.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, maybe we can, or maybe we'll get Allison to help run the table. I feel like she should be involved.
Sea rise, yeah.
It does seem like, so there's no other group working on sea level rise specifically that you know of?
No, there isn't.
So it seems like maybe that should be our focus, looking at flooding, sea level rise impacts. And there is somebody talking about the dam and dam removal.
So the River Study or River Advisory Committee, that's where all the confusion came from, because they got renamed to River Advisory Committee, which is similar to Exeter Squamscott Local Advisory Committee. But so they might have some information. They thought maybe they'd have a table both shared with ERLAC to look for new members, to talk about, maybe there might be materials about Pickpocket Dam for the public to look at. And I think Dick Huber did say he wanted to have some information about when we did remove the dam.
Okay, so yeah, they can be more dam oriented. And so yeah, maybe we do want to look at sea level rise. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily lend itself very easily to a table.
Yeah.
We have some maps. I guess we could have some cool, nice printouts of.
And sometimes just having somebody find where they live on the map, you know, like, where's your house on this map? Like, that's informative, because they're like, oh, how many feet of, of flooding is predicted in 2040 here?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as that, or.
Yeah, why don't we do that? And then we have all those trail maps. I mean, maybe we just have some info on all the trails. Other than, I mean, we could have stuff on the town forest, but we could also include some of our other.
And all the other ones too, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be great if we could somehow pull together the passport, the trail passport, get those posts installed, and have that be the launch for it, where we have some printed out passports there, and then could drive activity to places other than the town forests. Because I think only one of the sites was in Henderson Swayze, the rest were elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of effort that is. Did we buy the posts?
Yeah,
we have them?
I made them, but they didn't work. I think we need some way to install them, like with a pounded in post. We had 4x4 posts that were, we dug a hole and set them in, but people for some reason really liked them.
Oh, and they took them, they just wiggled them out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe these are the details we can work out at the next meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
How deep were they?
I'm gonna have to leave. Can I leave? May I leave? Is that okay?
Yes.
I have
Put them in a 5-gallon.
Thank you.
With
Concrete.
some concrete.
Yeah.
No one's gonna walk away with that.
That's my
You want to
bedtime.
carry concrete?
Thanks, Don.
No, I'm saying you
These
do
things.
it on site, just the bag. Dump it in that.
I gotta see if Bill's okay.
Let's see, Bill is,
Still there?
his picture is not there, but he's still signed on.
Or you should be.
All right.
All right, thank you, Don.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Good night.
Okay, so we can work out, so we'll talk, I guess, but we have some general ideas for what the table will be like.
Just to jump in and throw some curveballs too.
Do it.
Here they come.
Oh, boy.
So sea level rise is definitely one aspect we could go from, is like sort of coming from the water, but like a lot of what we do is like conserving land, right? So we could talk about, the benefits of that in relation to water. For instance, we could talk about it. I don't know if anyone's ever familiar with like an enviroscape. I know DES uses them for presentations sometime, and basically it's a really small landscape, like a model landscape they use. It helps to communicate watersheds. So you like put little food coloring here and there. You should put little pieces of candy or whatever on like a little farmland, and you like spray the whole thing with water with a spray, and it like shows it wash out that downhill into wetlands and ponds and things like that. So we could either talk about threats from the water being like sea level rise coming up and this is the impacts, but like honestly, it's not like there's huge impacts that really get people, would really like, scare people in town, unless we're talking about like groundwater rise or anything like that. We could also talk about benefits of actually just conserving land, because I think Exeter just does a fantastic job at it. We have great parcels. We're always looking for connectivity. We could talk about that.
We could try and get that. I mean, we could try and get a model and do a whole demo thing. I mean, that's certainly possible.
Well, what about,
I have access to a bunch of educational materials. Like, I know I have those cross-sectional groundwater models, flow models that we could do, but that's not particularly Conservation Commission, but I can do groundwater stuff. But I have seen that, Trevor, that model's pretty neat. I've never run it, but
yeah, I ran it a couple of
we
times.
could get someone.
I borrowed it from DES folks.
Yeah, we could do that. All right, you signed up. Trevor's going to do the Enviroscape model.
Put it in the minutes.
No, I think doing something hands-on is a good idea.
And it's a good way to talk about buffers and all of that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
There's actually a truck. I know, it's crazy. It's like a full truck size model. I think it was the EPA that we borrowed it from years ago, like 2011 years ago. But it's basically the Enviroscape model, but in a trailer bed. I'll see.
Yeah, I feel like DOT had one of those.
Oh, that's who it was.
DOT, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, get the truck down here. I'm talking about a little like 2x2 plastic thing. I want the truck.
You want the truck. Well, I mean, DOT or DES might want to send someone to an event. I mean, people are always looking for ways to connect with folks. So I mean, it's certainly worth reaching out to some of the outreach people at DES. I mean, I can contact people that it might make sense that it could be someone from Watershed or that might be interested in coming and doing an Enviroscape directly.
Okay.
Okay. So we have some interest. We'll look for a planning meeting soon with the whole group, and maybe we'll share that with whatever date we pick. We can send it to everyone on this commission, and anyone can come, and maybe we'll also plan a side meeting with the commission, with too many meetings, but and yeah, if anyone is motivated to follow up on these things, by all means, let's keep working asynchronously on this stuff.
Oh, so associated with the Alewife Festival, I'm hoping that the commission views that as our outreach and engagement effort. And so this year in the budget, we don't have a separate line item for outreach and engagement and conservation and land management. It's all combined into one, and it is a balance of $2,050. That's what's available should the budget pass. And so there are some expenses associated with this, like Mr. Fox composting, the musician, and there might be other printing needs and other things. So I'm wondering if the commission would be supportive of authorizing up to $400 from the town allocated conservation land administration line item in support of the Alewife Festival.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second.
Seconded.
Great.
We've all seconded it. All right, we'll vote.
Kristen?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Connor?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 6-0. All right. And anything else? I think this was good. I think we went over the stuff we needed. Oh, the other thing was there's this thing called the Green Minute. Does anyone remember it from last year? Or is it just me because I did it? I had to record a minute-long video of me talking about all these green things that we were doing. And all the other town committees are doing similar things, and then it gets compiled into a video and posted to the Exeter TV.
Yep.
Well,
And released for Earth Day.
Since you're experienced.
You know it so well.
Does anyone want to do it?
I make
Who
this
wants to do it
motion.
this year?
Well, you've already done it once, and you'll only be better at it now.
I'm not good. I'm not good on
Or
video.
just use last year's over again.
Well, I was thinking we use ours to advertise for the Alewife Festival. That was my idea I had today.
Does it get run on Exeter TV before the event?
It's for Earth Day, which is in April. So I think we're supposed to record it in the next few weeks, and it would be ready for April. So I think the timing would actually be pretty good. But we could also talk about other things, certainly. Rain barrels.
No.
No.
I hate rain.
Does anyone interested? Otherwise, Allison will do it.
That's a great idea.
Okay, all right, Allison. Okay. All right. Well, if anyone has any, I know it's sort of late in the night to be creative in terms of Green Minute video ideas, but we will have to do that, so reach out to Kristen or myself if you have any ideas. Let's run through a few things and then we'll get out of here. Committee reports, property management, is there any updates?
Just that, so a subcommittee of this committee and some others from the Rains Farm Stewardship Committee and I have been working on drafting an RFP should the town vote be supportive of the Rains barn warrant. And so that's in the works. We held an open barn day last weekend? No, the weekend before.
2 weekends ago?
2 weekends ago, which was great.
Right after that Friday snowstorm.
Yep. And I'm working to get, ArcGIS Online has a conservation easement monitoring dashboard and platform, and I'm working to get that set up here because, and that would make it much easier if you wanted to adopt a parcel to monitor on behalf of the town, much easier for you to share the information without having to write those tedious reports and send photos and monitoring tracks all in separate files. It can all be collected in one setup, but I'm hoping to get that in place. I'm just having a few stumbling blocks with it.
So you like record a track on your phone and then using a specific program and then
so it's
it
survey
syncs
1,
it
2,
up?
3. Basically, it's a form on your phone, and you just fill in the information, and you can add your track, you can add photos, and it will produce the map, and then all of that information will direct feed into our GIS system. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
If you can get the form to jive with the, yeah. Sounds doable, but yeah, those things, once you start getting into the details, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, moving away from paper survey forms is the right move, so.
Yeah, and then the beauty of it is then I would have a visual dashboard that says, you know, X easements have been monitored, X parcels still remain, these 3 have items that need follow-up. So it would really make the whole approach so much more efficient, really, than weeding through and rereading reports.
Right. Oh, yeah. What happened? What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You create a database for the tracking of all the monitoring.
I don't mean to get off track here, but what are we having issues with as far as that goes?
Yeah, so
just use it for
it is kind of in the weeds, but so we do have the right subscription in Esri, but I don't have the apps extensions or something or other, and so IT has to do something to set me up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's my answer too.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to get it set up correctly. But once you do the questions, I can help you with all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Should be straightforward.
I hope so. Because the other thing I really want to use it for is for our street tree monitoring. I'd love to implement what Dover did, where they had volunteers who adopted different streets, and they logged the street trees. They logged the condition, the species, the size. They tracked, you know, gaps in the sidewalk where a tree used to be, or stumps, you know, so that we improve our street tree database. So I think we'll have lots of uses for this once it's set up, but we've been working on it for like a good 5 months at least. So.
Huh. All right. Well, that's good luck,
stuff.
and yeah, that's great if you can see that through. Awesome. Okay, so that was property management. So we're having a meeting about the RF. Do we need to talk more about the meet? You haven't set a date for that Rains Farm Stewardship Committee meeting?
No.
Okay. The open barn was great. It was a lot of fun. You guys did a great job, Nick and Kristen, so thank you guys for organizing that.
Ryan,
yeah.
Just rode the coattails.
But there was a good turnout. I think some people didn't know about it and just showed up and were there, and some people did, and had a lot of kids in the barn and checking out stuff.
Hopefully the sweat equity that we put into that event, you know, prospers tonight at the polls, and we find out that Article 15 is passed with 100% vote.
I'm very optimistic. Yeah. Seems like a no-brainer to me, but who knows? Okay. And we also did the snowshoe event. It was the mud walk event out to the Irving property, and that was great. So Trevor and Allison were there for that, and we had a good turnout. I think I emailed after that saying an update. So that's good. We keep doing that event.
Yeah.
So it was fun to do that one again. One year we'll actually have good snow.
One of these years.
Yeah. And then, was there anything else on trails?
Just the only thing maybe a reminder to the public that when parking lots are full, find a new spot, try to access from a different location. Our town's website has all of the parking lots mapped, so if you're not sure where to go, you can always consult that, or if it's during the weekday, you could contact the planning department and they could help you. For all those people watching.
So don't park along busy roads.
Yeah, we're specifically having issues with the Watson Road parking lot.
Because it's a small lot.
That's not going to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I would also say this time of year is also, stuff's getting quite soft out there.
Yeah, we're right on the edge, And,
yeah.
depending on how much frost there is in the ground, because
Yeah, it's still partly frozen.
if the frost comes out fairly quickly, things will dry very, very rapidly. So, no, I've been kind of, it's been in the back of my mind about whether we need to post or not post, make an announcement maybe to stay off. Kind of want to see what it does precipitation-wise, also over the next week or two. So, I am kind of keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, it was, Jollyland was kind of mucky in a few spots this morning when I was out there.
Yeah, it's gonna, I think we're gonna have to encourage people to stay off for a while. I mean, we're supposed to get cold nights again, so that should firm things up enough so that it shouldn't be too bad, because it's not gonna get super warm during the days. So then it's just a race between that and real warm weather and the frost and precipitation.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act.
Well, yeah, I guess we can be in touch and with the Fort Rock Riders group, and I don't know how to get the word out if we need to, but we can post on Facebook and Fort Rock Riders, and that's about all we can do.
Yeah, the community Facebook and Fort Rock Riders.
Yeah.
That would get to a lot of the users. Plus, I still have the signs too.
Oh, you have physical signs, yeah.
Those metal signs, the orange ones.
All right.
Sitting in my garage, so if we got to put those up at some of the trailheads, we can do that too.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So are there any other outreach events other than the Alewife we want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. For the minutes, why don't we move ahead unless there's anything else? We'll approve the minutes and then be done. I did have one comment on the minutes, which now have this lovely line, what do you call it? The line numbering?
Yeah.
Line 47, there's an R missing. The last word should be, the names were inconsistent. The names we inconsistent. But other than that, I read through it and it seemed to read pretty good. So thanks to Dan, if you're listening out there, which you should be because you're doing the minutes, for your excellent work. Were there any other comments? Otherwise, I'll motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay.
Kristen?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Connor?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, and we're good on other business and other stuff? Okay. All right, I'll motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye at once.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.